Hey there, it's Dean. Last time I showed you the game, I had begun to have a working combat system, and I had people all over the world fighting and killing each other, spilling blood, items, and corpses all over the ground. And at the end, I said the biggest thing missing at that point was the ability to manage items in your inventory and to use items. And also reloading was also missing. And those are things that I've since then added, among many other things. So first off, the most important thing added is an inventory that you can click, interact with. You can screw around with it. Right here we have the inventory screen, which shows you your whole inventory. And when you're in the status window, it shows you your top 3 items. And those are just whatever items you stick in these top 3 slots are going to be accessible wherever for convenience. And you'll also notice I switched the Barbarian to use a bazooka instead of a shotgun because I want to show off an important new feature, which is, one sec, explosions. Not where I wanted it to be, but still. As you can see, that explosion destroyed a good deal of the ground, leaving a big old hole there. That one missed also. The accuracy is not too good, but we'll see what happens. As you can also see, I have a percentage next to every body part, and that's the hit percent for each body part. For me right here, this shows my dodge chance for each body part. And down here it shows the hit chance for every body part. As you can see, my hit chances are really low, so I'm most likely to miss him with whatever I do, which kind of sucks. And if I target a part, you can see that distribution changes to prioritize this head more, and that's useful. And as you can see now, I was able to catch him in the explosion and kill myself, and that's the end of his life. So one thing you'll also notice is I added a new class to the game, Swordsman. And he's pretty simple. He's got a sword. That's why he's the Swordsman. He dresses very light, and yeah, as you can see, using a bandage causes bleeding to stop, and as long as you're not bleeding, nutrition will be slowly expended to heal you and restore blood. And now I got shot again, so let's heal again, stop the bleeding, and watch nature run its course as he slowly heals. The Swordsman dresses pretty light, and with inventory system now we can equip and unequip items. So nudity is finally a feature in the game. This is definitely something that I've been working towards, and you can also wear other people's items. So let's kill this guy right here with our sword. And he's not very good at hitting. Darn it. I'll have to wait. And now that I'm stunned, I'm incapacitated. You'll notice I've added sort of these flashing stars on you. Because even if you're on the wrong screen and you don't realize it, you'll realize that you're being incapacitated. Because a lot of that fancy effect, too. Show that off. Now let's swing and miss and die. Okay, that kind of sucks. I'm a bit ashamed of what happened there, so I'll show you another feature I have is the level editor, which allows me to place blocks and creatures. So we're just going to place a whole new hero, get back into the game, mainly because I still have stuff about the Swordsman that I want to show off. And another important new feature is darn it, let's make that a hero. Now we are the hero. If you target an enemy who's dead, you can loot all their items and steal from them. And as you can see, we can steal his magic dust, which he uses to fill his wand with. We can steal his little knife, and we can even steal his robe. But let's put on that robe, and there you go. Now he's might be a bit warmer in this. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a desert area, so it's might already pretty hot. And so an important feature of this swordsman, other than the sword, is that he has these red flowers. And the red flowers, when you feed them to him, they're like some sort of drug or something, he'll gain a buff. And buffs, usually they go in the same area as status effects, but they're white. So they're treated similarly to status effects like bleeding or stun, but they're positive. And for him, when he enters a trance, a sort of trance, and what it does is it ups his agility. So as you can see, he has much higher movement speed than before, 3.9 meters per second, and this also increases dodge chances. And this allows him to move quickly and be more likely to dodge. It also happens to reduce the amount of stun he takes from attacks. And so we can kill this guy off. And there we go. Let's switch to someone else. This isn't quite going as smoothly as I would hope. Another important new feature that is definitely going to help you survive in the game is running. You see, with this button I can switch my movement speed between walking, running, and sneaking. And when running, you'll move at twice the speed, but you'll expend his stamina. So this will allow you to escape, but once you run out of stamina, you can't keep doing that. And as you can see, when walking, he moves at 2.33 meters per second, and running, he goes to 4.65. And then if we add the flowers to get the buff, he actually moves at 8 meters per second, which I think is a bit ridiculous. He's the fastest character in the game. But the trade-off is being somewhat limited equipment and yeah, just being kind of vulnerable. So when stamina runs out, you'll be just forced to wait until it goes above negative, allowing you to act again. And good gosh, this guy's just about to bleed to death, so we'll just leave him alone. And try to heal. Unfortunately, limbs that have been destroyed, or they're at negative health, are not capable of healing, at least for now. Additionally, now that I have the run button working, that's no longer. I also added guarding. Guarding takes stamina, but it increases your likelihood of having bullets miss you, and weapons that have had guard implemented, like the sword, will take damage. And his sword absorbed damage instead of any of his armor, which is pretty good. As you can see, the scientist ray gun is eating through that pillar relatively effectively, and you see a border hole in the ground, and I feel like it's a bit too effective. I'm going to need to kind of change how much damage needs to be done to destroy terrain, because some of it just gets eaten away willy-nilly. And so with that, that's the biggest addition has definitely been the inventory and the whole new class. Another addition is having a main menu. So now I can have multiple save files at once, multiple different worlds, which is pretty convenient. And if I create an empty world, I can enter it with a level editor and create my own world from scratch. which is a fun feature. Mainly really used for testing and just screwing around, but it was a feature I wanted to add because I don't know, in the future it's something I might want other people to be able to use, and we have different tools for filling in rectangular areas with blocks so that you don't have to do it just like that. And I've also added so you can have different brush sizes, different block types. Oh good gosh, I gotta turn that off. So that you can make your own world. It's not necessarily going to be as full of junk as a randomly generated world. And we can't place items yet, but I can stick all sorts of people here. We can stick people of any class, put them down, have fun with them, and we can designate one of them as the hero. We don't want this guy to be the hero. And we can even designate some as being hostile. Oh, gosh. And this will... Oh my gosh, this isn't working. And this will make them naturally hostile towards the player if we do this. And then we can also delete them. And that's just kind of fun. Now if I start the game, I'm gonna get really chased down by these guys. So that's fun. And that's kind of it. I feel like the additions made have been pretty significant. I've made pretty good strides since then. Yeah, and it's been fun. And in the future, what I really want to add next would be monsters. Because right now the world is simply populated with humans of various classes. But I want to have monsters in the game, and perhaps lower level monsters, since some of these human enemies are a bit tough, especially when they're often have very equal stats with you. So if I add lots of monsters, little hooligans, that might give you more low level enemies to fight, instead of being surrounded by very strong human fighters who are really perhaps a bit too much. So I'm just gonna start writing some simple monsters, and yeah, there's a long list of things I want to add, but that's it.